I think that we can all agree that thrifting is nothing like normal shopping. It's a complex, scary and unfamiliar activity if you've never done it before. When you enter a thrift store, you're greeted by endless racks or bins full of old, sometimes dirty clothes. So it's easy to become overwhelmed. If this is a feeling you have felt, don't worry, I felt the exact same when I started my thrifting journey. But at this point, I've visited hundreds of thrift shops in major cities known for their second-hand market, such as Berlin, London and Copenhagen. And I've picked up a lot of tips and tricks you need to keep in mind when you go thrifting. So let's get right into tip number 1. Know what type of thrift store you are walking into. This massively impacts what you're gonna find in the store and what the prices are gonna be. From my experience, there are 4 different types of thrift stores, and it's important to do some research beforehand so you're prepared for what type you are walking into. The first one is the cheapest, and it's the bins. This is a wild place where nothing is sorted. Everything is just dumped into these, well, bins, which are switched out and filled up every couple hours or so. Often the price is decided by the weight of everything you buy, so with some serious dedication you can find some absolute steals. The second type of thrift store is charity shops. This is usually a very small step up in price from the bins, but it goes to a good cause, so you kind of feel like you're doing something good. Here it really varies from shop to shop if anything is sorted or not. The third type of thrift store is curated vintage shops. This is the most expensive of all the types, but rightfully so, because the owners have taken time to carefully choose what brands or what type of clothing they want to sell in their store. In other words, they have kind of sorted through the bins for you and are just reselling them. And also, most vintage stores have neatly sorted everything, so you have one section of pants and one section of t-shirts, jackets, hair, whatever, you get the point. The last type of thrifting is online thrifting, which varies a lot. Some people know what their clothes are worth and won't change the price for anyone, while others just really want to get rid of whatever they're selling, so it's much easier to haggle the price down. And it's from these people there's potential to make some serious deals. For instance, it's not unusual to see like real designer going for dirt cheap on sites like eBay. Some bonus types of thrifting you can search in your area are flea markets, garage sales and consignment stores. And these all kind of fit under the other 4 categories, but it's useful to know about them too. Thrifting tip number 2. Know what you're looking for. Don't go in blind. That is the easiest way to waste your money. Before going in, make a mental note or actually write it down on your phone so you know what section to look in when you walk into the store. That's another small tip. You don't have to, actually you shouldn't look in every section. If you do that, you will never really find anything. Choose a section and look through every item in that section. Now for tip number 3. Don't buy something just because it's good enough. You won't wear it in the long run, trust me. If you envision some jeans in a certain wash or in a certain fit and you find something that's almost it, it's not it. It's never it. So just leave it and keep searching. I've fallen into this trap too many times myself. This, for example, I bought this because I wanted an American sports t-shirt, which this is, right? Yes, Well, it's a 3XL. And I'm definitely not a 3XL. I really tried to save it by cropping it, but it just looks awkward and now it's rotting in the back of my closet. Yay. Moving on to tip number 4. Don't buy something just because you think you won't find it again. Trust me, you will find another pair of vintage Levi's 501s. You just will. If it's not something you had on your thrifting wish list, then don't buy it. This was the case with these hunting pants. Like, what am I supposed to do with hunting pants, bruh? I saw these at a flea market like 1.5 years ago and thought, oh yeah, I'll wear these all the time so I can stand out. I think I wore them literally 3 times and haven't worn them since, so yeah. Tip number 5. Look at the already tried on clothes by the changing rooms. Often there's a rack right by the fitting room where you're supposed to hang the clothes you tried on but chose not to buy. Therefore, these clothes were nice enough to be tried on by someone, but most likely didn't fit how they wanted to or something like that. So a little pro tip: if you walk into a thrift store and you see a group of really fashionable people, run straight to the fitting room rack. Most likely there are some absolute gems hanging there. Next up, tip number 6. Know when to thrift. For me, I always choose the weekdays over the weekends if I can choose. This is because there are less people and better clothes. Thrift stores often restocks through the entire week, but as you can imagine, most of it gets purchased in the weekends when people have time off from school and their job and things like that. A little secret is that you can ask the staff when they restock and make sure you're the first one there every week. That will give you the best chance to pick up some goodies. Tip number 7. Wear some really light clothes so you can easily try on garments over your outfit. More often than you would think, there are no changing rooms in the store. So if you find something you like, you can just stand in the middle of the store, find a mirror and just try it on right there. If you do this in a Zara or a H&M, it might be kind of weird, but in a thrift store, anything goes. Lastly, for tip number 8, this is for you vintage hunters. If you're after true vintage t-shirts, look for single stitching. A lot of t-shirts from the 90s and earlier actually sewed with a single line of stitching, in contrast to now where we mostly use 2 rows of stitching. It doesn't really make a difference on how they feel to wear, but you kind of feel better than everyone knowing that you're wearing something that's really old. They can also hold some serious value if you find one with a rare print. People are actually willing to spend a lot of money on these if you choose to sell them later on. Anyways, that's it for the video. Bye.